Hello and welcome to this video presentation on contextualizing the Irish curriculum for GP training for Malaysia. My name is Dr. Brian McEllistrem. I'm the Curriculum Development Fellow with the ICGP and also a practicing GP. In the following video, I will guide you through the steps that we undertook in the spring and summer of 2019 to contextualize the Irish curriculum for GP training to ensure that it was fit for needs for training in Malaysia. This project is part of a larger joint effort between the ICGP, RUMC and IHED. The Malaysia-Ireland training programme for family medicine came about from a requirement from the government to increase the number of family medicine specialists practicing in the community. Their target was that there would be one family medicine specialist for every 4,000 members of the public. When considering a cross-border initiative between Malaysia and Ireland, several considerations came to mind. Firstly, thankfully the primary care structure is similar in both Malaysia and Ireland. However, some challenges presented themselves. These were primarily the large volume of learning outcomes contained within the Irish curriculum and the materials which would have to be reviewed and contextualised, the obvious time differences and time zones between the two locations, the differing care demands in both locations, and adapting the curriculum to account for local organisational, societal and cultural differences. The ICGP curriculum has evolved over many years. It has most recently been defined as an attempt to define the indefinable, the complex competencies of the expert clinical generalist. The curriculum is based around the Wonka tree of 6 domains and 3 essential skills. This format is across both clinical and non-clinical chapters. Each chapter follows the form of introduction, a case vignette with reflective questions, and then learning outcomes and resources below. Looking more broadly at current trends in cross-border medical education, it can be seen that in recent years it has garnered more attention and more initiatives are undergoing. However, some cautionary tales have existed in recent years, with tensions acknowledged between the home and host institutions, as well as some questions raised frequently about the suitability of training for the local healthcare needs. Now we move on to methods, and I will describe how we overcame these perils and implemented a novel technique. We implemented 2 concurrent workflows. Learning outcomes were addressed via a modified Delphi process with agreeance or concordance set at 80% across 3 rounds. Non-learning outcome materials were reviewed by family medicine specialists working in pairs. The non-learning outcome material include the introduction, the case vignettes, the reflective questions and the resources of each chapter of the curriculum. The customized Delphi process as previously advised had 3 rounds. In each of these rounds, all the learning outcomes of a given chapter were emailed out to the participants of the expert Delphi group, of which there were 18. Beside each learning outcome, in the first round there was 2 options. They could either accept the learning outcome as suitable for training in Malaysia, or they could alternatively vote to either have it altered or deleted. There was also a free text entry box beside every learning outcome for their alterations. At the end of this questionnaire, there was boxes for new learning outcomes. At the end of the first round, all those with agreement or concordance greater than 80% entered into the curriculum for training in Malaysia. Those less than that proceeded to round 2 and were altered based on their feedback and also on the new learning outcome suggestions. In round 2, similar options were presented as round 1, but the option to delete became available. Therefore, those learning outcomes that reached 80% concordance were accepted, whilst those options that did not reach 80% were moved forward to round 3. Those options which reached greater than 80% delete request were removed from further consideration. Similar options were available in round 3, with learning outcomes reaching 80% acceptance or concordance accepted, those reaching 80% deletion request were removed, and all others were brought forward to the committee. The committee consisted of representatives from both Malaysia and Ireland. This is a graphic representation of the flow of learning outcomes as they were processed by the expert group. As we can see, the base considerations stem from the Irish curriculum in blue. As we'll see in the results, the vast majority of these proceeded to the curriculum all altered from Malaysia. Those which were requested to be altered were brought forward to round 2, as well as those suggestions for new learning outcomes. These formed the basis for round 2. From round 2, a significant amount was accepted directly into the curriculum for Malaysia. Those that weren't proceeded to round 3, whilst those that were requested to be deleted above 80% were removed. In round 3, similar options were presented. Many proceeded directly to the curriculum, some went to the committee, and a few were removed. At the committee level, either the learning outcome was changed or removed completely. Moving on to the results. The overwhelming majority of learning outcomes were deemed acceptable, with 96.1% accepted without modification. 8 new learning outcomes were entered, and 55 were modified, and 9 were deleted. Of those additions, many were related back to clinical presentations, such as the prevalence of dengue fever in Malaysia but not in Ireland. Modifications too range from both non-medical considerations such as organisational issues and reimbursement, to the prevalence of inherited disease as illustrated in this example, with the differences of cystic fibrosis and thalassemia. Expert group participation was excellent at 77%, and we are very grateful to those 18 family medicine specialists for giving us so much of their time and expertise in forming their curriculum. At the end of this video, you will see a link to Dr. Azah Abdul Samad, expert group member and current program director for Mint FM. I would suggest you view this for an inside view on her opinion on how she felt the process went. So, to conclude, we have described a systematic and comprehensive method of learning outcome review. Essentially, and very importantly, this places the local experts central to the process, ensuring that the curriculum that is designed is suitable for the needs of the populace that they serve. Added benefits include that the fact that these expert group members can go on to become educators themselves, and they are inherently familiar with the curriculum through the process. We believe that this process could be adapted for other cross-border implementations. Many thanks, and please do get in touch if you have any questions or wish to have further details. Thank you.